Hey guys, it's me, Danny, and on this episode, I'm going to get you started playing the guitar. It's all on this episode of Everything 101. Let's get to it. Hey guys, so it's me, Danny. I want to get you started playing the guitar. I want to get you some very basic information today. We want to start with just, like as if you're just picking up the guitar for the very first time ever. I want to give you some basics on how to hold it, how to hold your pick, how to strum, all those kinds of things. And then I want to get you playing. Now, there are a few different ways to teach guitar. The first one is a very technical way, very technical, doing note by note and learning to read it off a page, the notes, everything, classical kind of style. And then there is another way that really just kind of gets you playing. But I like to mix the two methods, and I want to teach you enough just to get you to start playing today in this episode. But also, I want to bring in, as we go along in future episodes, I want to bring in some of that music theory that helps you understand why we do things the way we do. And also check out my general music playlist here on the channel, because that'll also help you just understand music in general. All right, so let's get going with guitar. First of all, I have an acoustic guitar, and a lot of people ask me, should I play acoustic? Should I play electric? What do I need to get? And I'm going to start out by saying it really doesn't matter. Okay, you play an electric using the same chords, the same notes, everything as you would an acoustic. They're the same. You play them the same way. I will say the difference is if you're going to get into playing rock music and doing riffs and licks and things like that, you're going to find an electric is going to be a lot easier to play. All right, it's a lot easier to do that. But for now, I've got my acoustic. I'm playing a Takamine. This is a mid-90s model Takamine. I love this guitar. Play it all the time. It's my favorite acoustic that I have. You start on what you have. You start getting down some basics of guitar, and then you can make a decision on what you like better. Do you like a guitar that is going to allow you to do those riffs and you are looking for certain sounds? Then you may want to look at getting an electric or whatever. But for now, start with what you have. Now, people always ask me, what about those guitars that I see, on the internet? Deal, $99 for an electric, an amp, a tuner, and all this kind of stuff. And I just want to tell you, be careful of those. And here's why. You don't know what you're getting until it shows up. You've paid for it. It shows up in your house, and you pick it up, and then you try to play it. You want to make sure that you can play the guitar first. And there are several things you're looking for. One of the things, you don't want to get a guitar that has the strings way off of the fretboard. It makes it harder to push down. It's just going to make it more irritating. And you're probably going to get frustrated very quickly and decide you don't want to play guitar that much. So you want to have your strings relatively close to the fretboard so that it's comfortable to play. Now also, there are certain things you want to look for. Certain guitars, when they're not, I don't want to say expensive enough, but really that's kind of the word. You get what you pay for. Some of the cheaper model guitars you're going to find are almost more like toys than they are real guitar. So sometimes you'll be able to pick a note, but then you go up an octave and it's not in tune. That's a big indicator that you're going to have a problem with this guitar. Also, you'll find that you play one chord and it's in tune, but you go to another chord and it's not in tune. That's an indicator that you're going to have problems with that guitar. So these are the things you want to look out when you're buying a guitar. All right? But with that being said, let's jump right into, you got your guitar. Now I'm going to use my acoustic to show you the basics. I'm going to show you my sitting position. I'm a right-handed guitar player. Now if you're a left-handed player, don't worry. Coming soon, I'm going to have a left-handed episode, and I'm going to bring a friend of mine on to show you about playing left-handed guitar. And so he can show you a couple different ways to set up your guitar and things like that. But I'm going to play a right-handed, so I'm going to put this part of the guitar on my right leg so that I can just comfortably hold it. Now, if I were standing, I would put my strap right here, it would go behind me and then around to my guitar, and that'll give you a nice standing position. And of course, adjust your strap so that it's at a nice comfortable height if you want to do a standing. All right, so now that we've got our guitar and we've got it in place, we're sitting down ready to start strumming, let's talk about how to hold the pick. Now with your pick, you want to just use your first finger and your thumb, and you just want to have a nice comfortable hold on the pick. Now some people will tell you that you're supposed to have it straight out and a firm grasp and all that, but I think after a while you start getting to where you just feel comfortable. And I don't hold my pick exactly like this. I'll kind of hold it like this and in a little bit of a looser grip, but not so loose that when I strum it falls out of my hand. So firm enough grip, but be comfortable with it. You want the pick to be going straight in toward the guitar so that you have a nice straight feel on it. Okay. Now let's talk about my strumming arm. My strumming arm, I've seen people do this. I've seen them do this. You want to have a nice, comfortable strumming position. So your arm is kind of resting here on the back of the guitar, here on the top, and your forearm, you don't want to have your all the way back here at the very end of your arm, because that's going to push your hand forward too much. But you want about like this, so that you're picking, when you're strumming, you're over the sound hole of the guitar. And so that's going to help you get a nice strumming pattern. But you want your arm to be straight also, like this. And just a nice loose feel. You don't want to have this straight up stiff arm. Relax your arm a little bit. It's going to help you play more smoothly. And it's also going to not tire you out as much. I've seen people just tighten their arm up and they strum and they're worn out by the end of a song. So, all right, now let's talk about the left hand in my case, because I'm a right hand player. Now, you want to have your hand on the guitar so that your thumb is back here. You don't want to have your thumb like this or like this, because that's going to limit what you're doing with your hand. It's going to restrict you, and it's going to restrict your speed. You want to have your thumb back here, and sometimes you'll even pull it down here, a little bit further down on the back of the guitar. But my left arm, I need to have it kind of like this. I don't want to have it like this, because that's going to restrict me. I don't want to have it like this. I want to have it just about like this, kind of going straight from my body at a slight angle toward the guitar. Now this allows you to easily pull your thumb back and open your hand up. You don't want your hand, your palm, to be all the way on the guitar either, because that's just going to slow you down. It's almost common sense, because you want to pull your thumb back, open your hand up, have a little space under here. In that way, you can easily stand your fingers up straight and easily play and maneuver different notes on the guitar. Okay, so that nice, easy, loose feel is going to help you play better in the long run. Now, one of the things you want to do with your fingers is you want to make sure your fingers are standing up relatively straight. Because what happens is, if I put my finger on a note, if I lay my hand down too far, I'm going to end up hitting the notes, the strings under it, and then it mutes the string. So I want to make sure my finger is standing up straight so that I'm only touching the note that I'm playing, and I'm not hitting other strings and causing other notes to not come out. All right, so with that being said, don't worry if this feels a little awkward to you, because over time you're going to start just relaxing and you're going to start snapping in and start feeling more natural to you. All right, but with that being said, I want to give you about 3 chords to start practicing, okay? And again, don't get discouraged. This is going to be a slow process at first, but practice several minutes every single day. And I promise you, in a few days, you're going to find that you're remembering the chords, and this is easy. So I want to teach you some chords in the key of G. Now, if you don't know what a key is, that's okay. You can go to the general music playlist on the channel, and I'll eventually have a nice little explanation of what a key is. But basically, a key, just in general terms, it's a set of chords or notes that go together, okay? So if somebody said, hey, we're going to play in the key of G, we would be using some of these chords that I'm going to teach you. All right, so obviously in the key of G, you would need to learn the chord G. So I'm going to teach you a G chord. Now, by the way, this is one form of the G chord, okay? There are lots of ways to play a G chord. I'm going to show you one form, because again, in this episode, I just want to get you strumming, okay? So I'm going to take my second finger, and by the way, my index finger is 1, 2, 3, and my pinky is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to take my second finger, and I'm going to go up here to this low sounding string right up here and put it on the 3rd fret, okay? So again, I'm going to stand my finger up straight so I'm not hitting other strings. And then I'm going to take my first finger and I'm going to put it on the 2nd fret on the next string down. And then I'm going to take my 3rd finger and go all the way down here. It's a little bit of a stretch to the 2nd string. I'm going to let go for just a second so you can see. This 2nd string from the bottom of the guitar on the 3rd fret, okay? 1, 2, 3. I'll put my 3rd finger there, and then my pinky is going to go right under it on this note right here, okay? So I'm going to back up and put all of them on the fretboard together at the same time. So my 2nd finger is here on the 3rd fret, and then my first finger, my index finger, is on the 2nd fret of the next string, and then I'm going to put my 3rd finger right there on the 3rd fret down here, and then my pinky right down there at the bottom. All right, and now I've got a G chord. Again, I've got one form of a G chord. Now what I want to do is go note by note, stand my fingers up straight, and I want to go note by note, picking it to make sure I hear every single note in the chord. Now, if I hear a note that's not coming out, you're going to probably hear that at first because you're brand new at this and you can't expect to be an expert in one shot. So don't get stressed about that. Okay, if you're hearing that though, one of two things are happening. You're not pushing the string down hard enough to get that sound. Okay, I got to push my finger down hard enough to get the sound to come out. Or you're not standing your finger up straight so that you're getting a nice clear sound, okay? So go note by note and strum each note to make sure you're getting all notes in the G chord, okay? So you should be getting a nice clear sound with each one of those notes. All right, now, leave your hand exactly where it is on this G chord. Now I'm going to teach you one form of a C chord. I'm going to take my 1st and 2nd finger and I'm simply going to go down one string like this. Okay? Now I've got a form of the C chord. So again, go note by note. And make sure you're hearing each note come out. Okay? If you're hearing something like that, again, make sure you're pushing the string down hard enough and that you are not touching other strings. So you should have a nice clear sound. All right? And then finally, I want to teach you one more chord, okay? And that's the D chord. But first, I want you just to practice going back and forth between the G and the C. Do a couple of strums, change. Couple of strums and change, okay? Change. All right, so now you're probably starting to feel a little bit better and comfortable with that change. You're just moving your 2 fingers, okay? So let's get to that D chord now. Now for the D chord, I'm going to almost make a triangle. I'm going to take my 2nd finger and I'm going to go to this very high string here on the 2nd fret. I'm going to put it right there. Now, I'm going to take my 1st finger and I'm going to put it 2 strings up on the same fret, okay? Right there. So now I've got 2 notes hit. Now I'm going to take my 3rd finger and go in between them on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. Okay, now for the D chord, I'm going to strum all of the strings except for this low string up top right here. I'm not going to strum that one because it doesn't really go with the chord, okay? You'll understand that later. So again, go through, make sure you hear all those notes. Make adjustments if you're hearing this right here, make adjustments. Okay, now, what you want to do is go back and forth between those three chords. G, now C, now change to the D, back to the C, back to the G, to the C, now to the D, and back to the C, and back to the G. Okay, now, one thing I want to mention about putting your fingers on the fretboard. When you're putting your fingers on the fretboard, you don't want to touch the fret marker right here, the fret line, because that's going to give you a weird sound. You want a nice clear sound, so go back it up to this side of it. You don't want to be down here either. Middle to right is kind of what you're looking for. So that gives you a nice little sound. So the G, the C, and the D. Okay? All right, now, well guys, that will get you started. I want to give you some more chords later, but I want you just to take some time to get those three down. Now, in later lesson, I'm going to teach you two more chords that you can bring in to the key of G that'll help you play tons of songs, and I mean tons of songs. You can do them with all 5 of those chords. You can play tons of country music. If you're a country fan, learn 5 chords and you got a whole lot of songs down, okay? But anyways, practice, 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 and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Everything 101. See you soon.